time to get geeked up.
Like we were talking about, it is Halloween. What are you geeks out there doing? You dressing up as your favorite video game character? Which Avenger are you going to be this season?
Yeah, it's time to get to the Halloween special portion of the show.
Oh, yes.
Considering me and Devin are doing this as we're dressed up, and as I'm in my peanut butter costume and Devin's dressed up as his jelly. It feels kind of silly when we're not. It feels like when you're at work in your costume and you're just trying to putz along through your day, dressed up as the Joker, getting yelled at by the boss. That's how I feel talking about the last podcast.
Or like having to
talk
talk
I'm currently
to a
dressed up
customer.
as a giant mustard jar, you know.
And I am dressed up as jelly. We really fucked our costumes up.
I know.
We're mustard and jelly here at the Geeked Up podcast. But like we were saying, like, what is your guys' like big Halloween plans? Of course, like, since we're here and we're geeks, just lazy geeks, and we love Halloween, you know what we're doing? We're watching some spooky Halloween favorite TV movies.
Yeah.
You know, just
I'm gonna be. I think on AMC they've got all of the Halloween-related Geeked Up episodes.
That's right. AMC Fright Fest.
AMC Fright Fest. They're featuring the Geeked Up boys.
That's right.
Past Halloween, so you can catch up on that. But AMC does the whole Halloween.
The Fright Fest.
The Fright Fest.
Yeah,
Yes,
it
the
starts
whole
like
Halloween
October
kind of movie
23rd,
marathon.
and it goes to October 31st. I think like every year it ends with Halloween.
With Halloween on Halloween.
But of course, I mean,
And the second best song is next to.
playing. Yeah, we're getting distracted. But yeah, it does. It is like they always ends with Halloween. AMC actually does it right too, because like every Friday the 13th, they just run a Friday the 13th marathon.
Yeah, they do capitalize on that, like, you
I don't
know,
know how they got the
bi-yearly
rights.
oddity or whatever, but.
So like every spooky holiday, like AMC has it locked down. Like HBO is just showing like reruns of Girls on Halloween.
I know,
you know
seriously.
what I mean? Like, why is AMC
Let's
like?
get some topical Halloween programming, which is kind of one of the things we wanted to talk about to start off here would be the fact that Halloween is a holiday which kind of demands its own genre of TV and movie programming. You know what I mean? All sorts of Halloween-themed movies and TV shows. But unlike Christmas, I feel they don't really get the direct credit for it being like Halloween movies. You know what I mean?
Sure, I guess
like
you
there's
could
a
just call
whole
them, like,
genre
horror
of
movies.
exactly.
Yeah, okay, I get what
they
you're
kind
saying.
of it's like so then it kind of just asks the question. Other than Halloween, which is the namesake, they really they've nailed the essence of the horror movie.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. All of them kind of like seem to suit Halloween, but they're not like they're considered horrors, not Halloween movies.
Yeah, like there's horror movies that
Whereas-
come out like in June and July.
But exactly, but who's really watching like horror movies year round? You know what I mean? Like you got to be a real psychopath if you're sitting around watching the Jason series in May. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, Jason
lovely-
8, where he takes Manhattan, is my favorite one.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, dude.
Lovely
like, it's
first day
nice
of
out.
spring. I just watched all 6 Leatherfaces. Like, all right, like
Weirdos.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like, who's really-
totally? Yeah, totally get. So I guess that's a good point too, because like you also like wouldn't be the weirdo like watching Christmas Story. with
Exactly.
Little Ralphie in like August.
Yes.
So like, but you're right.
But it's
like,
these movies. They're definitely so like you got to figure like 90% of your horror movies get watched in like the 2 weeks in and of around Halloween, right?
Sure.
You know what I mean?
But I guess that is one of those things though too. Like there are like a perfect like genre specification of movies like called Christmas movies.
Yes,
and
exactly.
they don't get released at like random times. Where there are horror movies though that do get released. Like
Yeah, for sure. Like
look out, June 26th. It's like, what?
Like
Dude,
we talked about it actually on the show, but this summer the horror movie industry was kind of like the talk of the
like
cinematic
It,
world
yeah.
with It being the biggest blockbuster, and then some of the Annabelle Creation prequel and the Unbreakable sequel 25 years too late, although
Yeah,
nobody
right.
knew, was like these were all smash hits. Get Out, the Key and Peele movie was
right. That's a
the
very
Peele
good point.
and or
again,
Peele.
all summer movies and like you
Yeah,
try to
there's
release a Christmas movie, but I guess you could say though there are like specific like movies or TV shows that you would watch like during the Halloween season. Like even though it's like it might be a horror film, like for me like certain things that would like remind me that it is Halloween, that
For
I
sure.
would watch that. Or I don't think it would do as well for me to watch like during, even if it might be a horror movie. It's just like it doesn't have that same effect if I'm not watching it during the Halloween season.
I think in terms of movies, kind of where I draw the line is I feel like for me, and now especially in this day and age of horror movies, there's a huge difference between like a horror movie and a psychological thriller. You know what I mean? Where it's just not enough for there to be some maniac slashing everybody's face off. There's got to be some like psychological mind fuck that's going on. So I feel like those kind of movies are year round. A movie where there's just some asshole just killing everybody and like, how are we gonna? That's like a slasher movie. That's in my book kind of like a Halloween season horror movie.
Okay.
Where The Ring, you can watch. The Ring would scare my balls off year round.
Sure, yeah.
You know, Freddy Krueger
Look
seems
how hot
silly
it is
if it's
outside.
not.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, exactly.
Even though a nice dip in the well does look very nice right now.
I mean, think about it. It's I Know What You Did Last Summer. You know, which is another kind of ironic part about the horror movies is like they're all like we're talking about they're Halloween season must-watches, but for the most part they take place in the summer.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It's always
you can't have bikini-clad girls running around with these fucking leaves falling out of the trees. But I guess that'd be a difference too, because like even like like living down in Florida, it was just like the season isn't changing. It's just like it's time to put a costume on. Like at least up here, and I guess that's kind of the point we're trying to make. I guess like in like we're
and this
up
show
here,
is filmed in New York City for
we
the
do
Geeked Up
New York.
audience across the world.
But it does have that northeastern feel where like the fucking leaves are falling off.
Yeah.
It has that Halloween feel.
For
like,
sure. You could be apple picking in foliage, but
Exactly.
instead
Which
you're
in
watching
itself
Freddy
has a very
Krueger.
Halloween feel to it, dude.
No, for
Like,
sure, yes.
Something about picking apples is very spooky. You know what I mean? I've seen it in a lot of things. I guess
Well,
the
if
point
you
I'm trying
didn't
to make
notice
is, like,
my jack-o'-lanterns that are all over the Geeked Up studios.
it's pretty intense. Like we're glowing orange here, except they're all just carved into pot leaves and R2D2s. So it's
Who was the guy from the last one, UB40 or whatever?
he loves red wine.
Who was that little droid? He looked like a little pumpkin, you know?
Red wine, you make me feel so fine. But I guess like what we're kind of saying is like there's specific things that we do watch around like the Halloween season. For instance, like something I look forward to every year, and even though it kind of like comes when I was a kid, where like I wasn't allowed to watch the show, but I didn't understand why because it was a cartoon. But even as an adult man, I still get excited. Like, oh, is it Treehouse of Horrors time? Like, is it Simpsons ready to watch
Yes.
Treehouse of Horrors? And that was
That's
always
gotta be
a crazy one too. Sorry to interrupt you, but like. They used to always air Treehouse of Horrors like the week after Halloween, and it was like November
Really?
6th. It's Treehouse of Horrors time. which
Okay,
was
wow,
always
that's
just,
interesting.
like,
I don't
a
remember
nice,
that.
Just like, a little last taste of Halloween. And now they do it like no matter what, like the Sunday before.
The
They
Sunday
change
before.
it, so
Okay, all right.
logically makes sense.
It does make a little more sense to hone in, but to hone in on everybody's excitement. But I don't really remember that as much. I do remember The Simpsons being. I remember Fox always being good with The Simpsons, like we mentioned before, topical programming.
Yeah,
where
sure.
I knew that like the syndication from 7 to 8 across the world on Fox, like on every local Fox affiliate that's played The Simpsons in that hour for the last fucking 30 years. But they would always do like Treehouse of Horror reruns,
Like
and Treehouse of
marathons?
Horrors marathons and stuff on Halloween to get you ready. You know, and I feel like TV shows in general are really, they kind of specialize in, even more so than Christmas, I feel like every good sitcom has a good Halloween special,
Sure.
you know? And I feel like The Simpsons really, they kind of took it the next level with their yearly tradition of the Treehouse of Horror.
Treehouse of Horrors.
Like,
Well, Treehouse of Horrors is always a good one too because they'll just like each different story, they just like kill off a character. Like, oh, look at Homer getting sliced
Yeah.
in half, and, it's
and
just,
like you said, it's in these little skits. You get
It's
like
always
3
a
or
different,
4
like,
little
homage to,
stories,
like, a
and it's
different-
like it's a topical parody of
Yeah.
a classic, you know,
classic horror
There was,
film.
like,
It's always
the-
an homage to it. Yeah.
They of course did the zombie apocalypse. Dad, you killed zombie Flanders. Flanders was a zombie.
Yeah,
You get stuff like that. You get the Donut Man taking over. Of course, you get King and Krang.
Oh, every episode.
Every episode.
I think
there's
we've
always
talked about this
been-
in the show before too. Where you've heard like the writers be like, "Finish Treehouse of Horrors," like, "Oh, we're done." Like, "Oh shit, we forgot to put Crit and Crank somewhere in there. He's
Yeah.
like, have to write down, like, oh, now we've been watching The Humans. For no reason. They have to be in every Treehouse of Horror.
Yes, yes.
It's not Treehouse of Horrors without them. Even if it is them just flying by in a ship in the opening credits. And I guess it's a good point you made, too, about, like, every sitcom, like, does have, like, a great Halloween episode. Like, I remember, like, the Roseanne Halloween episodes were always, like, really intense. Like, Dan and Roseanne, they,
Yeah, you
might
wouldn't
not have money throughout the year, but damn if they wouldn't
Seriously.
blow it.
For curmudgeonly white trash, they sure did love Halloween.
Yeah.
They would really catch the Halloween spirit.
They would
for
blow the budget every time. Like, it was like a $5,000 setup.
Yeah, seriously.
Sure, they could have used it for Darlene's college fund, but damn it if it didn't look like Dan's head was floating
Well, there's
above
nothing
the
more
front door.
like goth witch than Darlene, though. You know what I mean?
Sure.
She definitely.
DJ was a little sociopath, too.
Another great Halloween special of kind of more recent years, but was the It's Always Sunny Halloween special where Dee.
That's right. The whole time she just evolves more and more into a bird.
She becomes
Yeah.
more and more a bird.
Until at one
by
point
the
it's
end,
just an
she's like,
ostrich. Yeah, it's like, you're going to have sex with me. That is a great one, dude. But I guess it's like, all right, I'll move it to more like to the movie genre. There's a movie that like came out a couple years ago. It was supposed to hit theaters, but like the timing was wrong with it. But they do have actors.
Star Wars Rogue One.
It's close. That's my costume this year. Not the movie I'm talking about. But it's a movie called Trick or Treat, which I guess like couldn't be more Halloween.
Okay, yes.
But like Anna Paquin.
Now here's one of these, like, you know, Fred Claus, where you're really kind of cornering yourself into the Halloween season.
For sure.
In the blockbuster video.
But as horror movies go, it's not even a horror movie. It's like definitely like a Halloween movie. Where it's just like the thing takes place on Halloween, and it's like 5 different stories, but they all like interconnect. And like they're all like spooky and about like Halloween lore. And if you watch it any other time of the year, it's just stupid as hell. When you watch it during Halloween, it's all the pumpkins. You're like, oh hell yeah!
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
This is a
It's kind of
very
like the
fun Halloween movie.
It's kind of like the Thriller video. Around Halloween, it seems to really.
It shows up a lot. Thriller, though, is one of those things, though, that it does randomly show up at weddings every now and then for no reason. Because even as a kid, you watch the whole thing. Like, that's a fucking movie production. Like, it's
Oh,
like
yeah, no, for
Vincent
sure.
Price is doing the narrating. And like, at the midnight
Yeah.
when the ghouls rise up.
And I never quite understood why, because it's such like a, you know, it was such a like a chart-topping #1 single.
Yeah,
I don't know why, like and it was like the #1, like it was the original iconic music video ever.
Oh, yeah.
Where they could have maintained a spooky thing with that. They're literally being like zombies rising up from their graves in the middle of
like
it.
a
Like
25-minute movie. Like, the fucking
Yeah.
video starts with like him watching a werewolf movie where he turns into a werewolf
For
and,
like a pop single,
Flash,
like
it's
it-
actually Michael Jackson watching him in a movie turning into a werewolf. And then he goes outside, and then he turns into a zombie, and then they dance. There's actually another Michael Jackson like Halloween kind of video, and I think it's called like Ghost Story or something. And I forget which movie it was supposed to be attached to, but like I think it was some kind of like scary movie. But like Michael Jackson wrote a song for the movie, and it's like another spooky ghost story movie song. But they dropped the song from the movie because like it was like the first or maybe second time like his molestation scandal came out. So they dropped it. So he just decided to do another Thriller-esque video, kind of like the same way they did Thriller, but more modern, like more now white woman faced. During his scandal,
Be more-
and it was just like equally as creepy. Like it was supposed to, like these kids like run into this house, and it was supposed to be like Michael Jackson's a ghost kind of monster, but instead it's just like looks like these kids run into Michael Jackson's like dilapidated mansion. He's like, "Oh, hello, children," and like comes out, and it's another like 30-minute thing for like a 5-minute song that they do. You know, and this is random Michael Jackson knowledge I don't think anyone needed. I'm sure someone else there remembers it. But, you know, okay, here's one that will get me every time is that, or I used to do, I guess, more or less, is that, like, every Halloween for, like, 8 years, a new Saw movie would come out. No matter what day it was, it would always come out on Halloween. So even if like Halloween was on like a Monday, it'd be like Saw 8 comes out Monday, and they just like religiously made Saw movies every Halloween, despite what the
They
date
released
was.
them, ID4 style, capitalizing on the
like time of year.
on the
and,
time
like,
of year. But I mean, that's but that makes sense though. The Jigsaw series definitely very slasher-esque, like I said.
Sure,
you know what
they
I
would
mean? Like,
always
it's really...
make sure to make it come out like on Halloween too, which is always just like a fun thing. It was like, of course,
Again, that's kind of like you said, though, the Simpsons scenario, the Treehouse of Horror scenario, where it's kind of like, especially for a large-scale movie, you might want to get that the week before to get you prepped up for, you go costume shopping, then you go see the horror movie. Because by like November 2nd, you really want to like get,
yeah,
you're kind of over. Halloween kind of crashes pretty quick, I'd say.
Well, here's another one too. I guess that like is you could consider like a year-round show, but like it came out on Halloween. Was like the very first episode of Walking Dead came out on Halloween.
Okay.
So, like, of course, like, people were watching, a zombie, like, thing coming out.
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
Halloween. It came out, like, 10 o'clock at night, so, like...
And Walking Dead was definitely not, like, a major,
there was, like,
huge-scale
a graphic
show.
novel, but, yeah, it was, like, a show on AMC that was coming out.
Yeah.
Like, they were doing good with Breaking Bad, and it was like, ooh, wow, a show about zombies? I guess that's interesting.
Yeah, but it really turned into a huge hit, kind of, out of nowhere from everybody.
And I think the fact that it came out on Halloween, like, you get, like,
yeah,
spooky
got people
element
into it.
of,
They
like,
gave the
it's
benefit
Halloween.
of the doubt right off the bat to give a
For
zombie
sure.
show a chance. Whereas, like we were saying before, if it came out in like May sweeps, people might not have been as quick to give the zombie world a try.
Exactly. Well, someone else that did it too is like season 2 of Stranger Things is coming out.
Yeah, Stranger
right
Things
before
I guess,
Halloween.
this year is coming out the Halloween weekend.
But
you
remember,
know?
the first season of Stranger Things came out like during the summer. It was like a
Yeah.
summer like 80s thriller, and they totally realized like, oh, like okay, the next season is gonna like we're gonna make the next season
Yeah.
a little longer than a year to wait. I guess it gives them production value, but also like. Make it come out on Halloween.
Halloween.
The trailer literally shows like the kids in their little Ghostbusters outfits, like on Halloween.
It's in Halloween in the Stranger Worlds universe too, because like you said, they
Yeah.
got their Ghostbusters costumes on and whatnot. And I feel like that's one that doesn't necessarily need to be around Halloween. You know what I mean? The first season wasn't, and it's very like just because it's science fiction-y doesn't mean that it like should be on Halloween. But I feel kind of the whole kids angle. It's kind of got that like fun, cheesy kind of quality. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
to it,
100%,
where it like
yeah.
really does line itself up for enjoying getting yourself into the Halloween mind frame and enjoying the season. It's like a good, easy one to adapt onto. You know what I mean?
Very
for the
true.
people that might not want to go so deep, because hey, just because it's October 30th. Just because it's October 30th, Jason's still gonna give me nightmares. You know what I mean? So I don't want to. I can't watch Hellraiser just because Halloween's coming up. I got to take it one step below.
And you're scared on October 30th. Like the next day is Halloween, and you're already terrified.
I'm already terrified.
It's the 31st.
I got to enjoy the lesser scary. I got to enjoy the Garfield movies. The Charlie Brown Big Pumpkin hunts.
Yes, the very safe Halloween.
Yes.
Like, oh, well, the pumpkin's not bad. It's a great.
I'll YouTube
Minus.
the Home Improvement Halloween episode.
Well, you're watching the Home Improvement Halloween episode. I'm going to be watching the Curb Your Enthusiasm Halloween episode.
Bald asshole. This is a hate crime.
This is a hate crime. What did they threaten you? Yeah, they said trick or treat. Trick or treat. Bang, bang.
What, just because it's Halloween, I'm supposed to give everybody that shows up in my house candy?
Yeah, that's a great Halloween episode. And then the
And
other,
that one's not even like really a Halloween episode. It's just like,
well, the same thing with Cheryl's nephew is a Halloween episode with the kid's the magician.
Oh, that's true,
And then
yes.
the next day he's like, you're not really Superman, right?
I want to have that candy,
All right,
kid.
capiche? Capiche.
Ooh, baby, it's time to get geeked up.